Hello, in this video tutorial, I'm going to show you how I made this strange looking thing. This is a portable water fountain, and I've made it using Tinkercad, and this is what it does. So let's see if this video will work okay here. So we need to make it so it's a nice tight fit onto the tap, and then it redirects the water so it's easier to drink. And there's a little water valve at the bottom there that just lets excess water spray out of the bottom so it stays on the tap. Voila. Okay, good. So that is what it does. Here's a bunch of students' portable water fountains which have been previously made. And I'm going to show you now how this is going to work. So let's have a little think about this. There's the product. What I'm going to do is break this down into its parts. Okay, so I'm going to click on this. Oh, first of all, before I do that, actually, let's just confirm one other thing here. I'm going to be working with Tinkercad in orthographic view, which means that I don't want to have it in perspective view. Perspective view basically creates perspective distortion. So the further something is away, the smaller it gets, and the closer it is, the bigger it gets. That is going to cause problems when we're doing this. So let's make sure, first of all, that we have it switched to orthographic view, and that means that we lose that perspective distortion, which means that things aren't as realistic looking, but it makes it easier for us to actually construct this with accuracy. Right, okay, so I'm right clicking there and spinning around. I'm going to select it, and one of the key tools we need to be able to make this it's going to be the ungroup and group tools. So if I ungroup this, I start to see how it's broken down into its different parts. So you'll notice here that there is, well, there was originally, let's undo that, there was originally a little hole here. This is the little pressure release valve. And if I just ungroup this again, and you see that hole's been created by taking a hollow cylinder, let's just see, a whole cylinder, should I say, and then indicating where I want that hole to appear, then grouping the parts together. Now let's just drag that to the side. What else do I have here? Let's select it again and let's ungroup again. And now what I've got is another whole cylinder over here, which makes the spout into a tube. Okay, if I just undo that again, you can see that I've got a tube there. It goes all the way through. Okay, so let's just redo that, and there's the whole cylinder that makes the tube. Let's ungroup this again, and now what I've got is another whole cylinder that basically creates the cavity inside the cylinder here. And then let's take this again and ungroup it one more time. Well, I didn't see much change then, but now I've got the actual spout that separates. And just to show you what was happening there, if I just select this grouped object, make it into a whole so it's transparent, you can see it's all one object. But if I now ungroup it, he says, excuse me, is that ungrouped? Did I do the right thing there? Click to this and ungroup. Yes. Okay, that's weird, the way that it makes it solid again. If I just reselect these, you can see how this is another tube, cylinder, hollow cylinder, should I say, going into this main hollow cylinder. So I can now separate those away. Okay, and then now let's have a look at what's happening with this. I can ungroup this again. No, I believe that is it, sorry. Okay, there we are. Those are all the parts. So I'm now going to recreate this. In fact, I'm going to undo all this. There we go. Let's all put it back to how it was. That's how it was originally. Fantastic. Let's put that to the side and let's see how we're going to make this again now. Right, so I'm going to start off with a cylinder. I'm going to bring it in here. I need to make sure that this cylinder is going to be of the correct size. Now, I know that this cylinder wants to be, let's just actually look from the top. I'm going to have a look at what's happening with this cylinder. The water fountain, I'm going to bring it to here. And what I can see here is that this, looking on the grid, this is a millimeter grid, and the main grid lines are every 10 millimeters. So this is 10, 20, this is 30 millimeters across. Okay, so I know that the taps that we have here in the school have a diameter here, I believe it is of 28 millimeters. So I'm going to make the external wall thickness of this to be 30. There's then going to be, sorry, the external diameter, should I say, the wall thickness is going to be 1 millimeter, which means this internal wall diameter is going to be 28 millimeters, which would be perfect for the taps. Okay, so let's select this new cylinder then. And let's click on the corner resize handle here, and I'm going to dial in here 30 millimeters. Okay, I press tab to switch between them, and I press enter to finish. Let's just have a look now at the height of this. Now, this is a height of 28.6, but that is because if I look at this from the side here, that's because of the tube. I can see, however, that the actual height of this cylinder is going to be here 20 millimeters, which is the same. So that looks all very good. I'm going to slide that to the side there. And there's something interesting happening here as well, because I've got into this front view. I'm only moving things around in this X and let's have a see, and no, sort of in this X coordinate here, and I can also move it up and down in this Z coordinate here as well. So that's interesting to note there. But if I look at this from the front, now I'm only moving it in this Y direction or this Z direction right here. So let's go back to the home view there, or let's just spin this around with the right mouse button and make sure we're happy with our view. Okay then, so what is next? What else do I want to do here? I want to make it so there's going to be a cutout inside of this. So let's now bring in a hollow cylinder. I'm going to bring it over here so it's again on the grid. In fact, let's just make sure that it's actually on the grid. Wheel mouse in here. Press wheel mouse to just pan around. Okay, I want to set some sizes again here. Now this was 30 by 30, so I want to have a 1 millimeter wall thickness. So as discussed earlier, that is going to be 28 tab 28. And I also want to make it as well here so that this is going to basically shell out this cylinder here so it's hollow, but I want to have it so it's got a solid base. So to do that, let's see what I can do here. I'm going to go onto the front view again, and I'm going to lift this up just 1 millimeter. 1 millimeter up, like so. If I want to, of course, I can dial that in as well. Press enter. Now I can drag this to the right. I can position this inside the cylinder. Now it's positioned inside from this angle, and is it positioned inside from this angle as well? Yes, it is. Fantastic. Now what I could do is click and drag over both with the bounding frame, and then I could group those together, and that's going to make this shelled cylinder, or this bucket in effect. So that's where I'm going with this. Okay, I'm going to leave it like that for the time being. That isn't quite right, but I'm going to leave it at that stage. Okay, let's look now at the spout. So this is going to be another solid cylinder and a hollow cylinder. So I might just move things around a bit here so I can see things more clearly. Let's just middle click mouse, and let's just do something like that so we can see them both. Now I've got this cylinder in my case having a size of 9 by 9 millimeters. Now at this point, there's an element of control on your part, because the narrower we make this tube, the faster the water will flow through it, and there'll be more water pressure as a result, and the water will come out of the end more quickly. Okay, in fact, actually, the narrower spout will make a higher water pressure, which will make it travel faster. It goes that way around. So the water is going to be squirting out further, and we want to also think about how much water we want coming out of the spout here. So I'm going with 9 millimeters because I think that's a nice value. It gives a nice kind of water flow. You might want to experiment with different size spouts and different water speeds within that spout. Anyway, let's have a see. I've got that set to 9 by 9. Okay. I've got my cylinder here. Now, this cylinder here wants to be, this hollow cylinder wants to be smaller. I'm going to set this to be 7 by 7 because I want to have, again, a 1 millimeter wall thickness all the way around the outside. And let's see what I can do here. I'm going to bring this in, and I can now select both of those, and I can group them together, and that is going to make that into a hollow tube. So now I've got my bucket and I've got my hollow tube. And I could bring these together. Okay, let's just look at this right now. Let's look at this from the side view here. I'm going to take this and I'm going to rotate it. I'm going to rotate it through 45 degrees. And again, I could dial that in if I wanted to on -45. I'm going to run with that, click off. Now, let's see, I want to lift this up. Oh, that's not lifting up. Lifting up is going to be this little arrow here. It was at the top before, now it's at the bottom, which is a bit bizarre. I'm going to take that up, let's say 2 millimeters, because I want to make sure that this is not going to collide with the base of my bucket. And then let's now take this across and let's put it to about there. Okay, let's look at it from the front view now, and let's bring this in so that everything lines up. And if I look at this from above, and I'm also just, can I rotate this? Okay, let's do that. I want to make sure that all of this is lining up. Now I can see my bucket is off the grid here. So let's bring this bucket into the grid. Let's now bring this tube or the spout into the grid. Okay, and I can see here that because I set this to 9 millimeters, it's not quite snapping into position because I'm working to the nearest millimeter, and I actually need 0.5 millimeter control. So let's come down to my grid lock settings here. Let's set that to 0.5 millimeter grid snapping control. Zoom in, and now I can bring it across just 0.5 millimeter. I'm going to put that back to 1 millimeter control now. Okay, so that is basically where I want it to be. That is what. I'm whizzing around here. As I middle wheel mouse press to pan, it's whizzing around. Okay, so that is looking pretty much what I want, but obviously it's still not right because the tube is coming all the way in. I don't want that to be the case. And I want the tube to go all the way through into the bucket, and this one is blocked. So what I now need to do is change the order in which I have grouped the objects together. So let's have a see. I'm going to take this and I am going to ungroup that. I'm going to take this and I'm going to ungroup that. I need to make sure that I group things together in the right order. And this is the order that I need to do this. I'm going to select here. In fact, am I going to tell you? I don't think I'm going to stop there. I'm going to let you work that one out. What order should these be grouped in order for it to work? And of course, don't forget too that we need to add in this little pressure release valve so that we don't get the whole portable water fountain popping off the tap, and we get the right amount of water pressure pushing the water out of the spout. I think what I am going to do is I'm going to pause the video, and I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to group these objects together. This is the hollow cylinders and the solid cylinders to prove that we can do this. So I'm going to pause it now. I'm going to make the modifications and then rerun the video, and you'll see what I've got. Here we go. And that is done. I've just done it. There you go. So you didn't see it, but I've just gone through the process, and that now is my portable water fountain, looking pretty nifty. I've noticed that the spout is shorter than the other one. I think I set that one to 30 millimeters in length. I think I prefer this shorter one. It's a bit more compact. So there's still the little pressure release valve to go in there. I'm sure you can work that out yourself. I think this one here has a diameter of 4 millimeters, but again, you can vary that size. That will determine the water pressure of water, the amount of water coming out of the spout. And the other thing you can do, of course, with this is you can add in some custom elements to this. You can decorate it, which is what some people had done. I think this is the one here. Some people had done different kind of, shapes of water fountains. So for you to go ahead and explore, folks. Okay, so voila. Good luck with that, and I look forward to seeing your amazing portable water fountains in action.